like
It's like a
micro
technical. It's
jargon.
a technical term, I think. I think it's yeah,
Vibe what now? Vibe
vibe coding.
coding. I mean, I feel like it's probably just qualitative research, like
Okay.
coding
I
results as
I
something
love
on Vibe.
First of all, I love that you said that because that I was like, it's is it sentiment analysis? Like that's literally
Yeah,
what I thought. Like Claude. No, apparently there are AI programs such as Claude AI and like Manus AI are
yeah.
examples that through like just simple verbal prompts, you can actually produce code that will like and then altering that code via verbal prompt like yeah, verbal prompts
Uh-huh.
you can create entire applications essentially. And this is,
Sure.
I guess, again, I literally heard about this yesterday. So but the person I was discussing it with was saying like this is probably like the next big thing in that software programming is like kind of like going to take like a massive hit and the people that are actually going to have jobs in like tech industry are going to be people who are like doing machine learning, who are doing the like who are like managing the AI and like coding for the AI
Mhm.
as opposed to like coding application, like doing application coding. And I'm sure
When we say
Get a Grip
coding
has
for
many
the
opinions on this.
AI
Hmm?
when we say coding for the AI, is that to mean, like, me pop into an LLM like ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, I wanna make a program that does whatever," that, like, shows me a rat every time the camera detects that my frown's upside down, or no, the opposite, my smile is upside down. And you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of, like, tell it, like, "No, not like that." Is that what that would be, or do you have to actually, like, typey type?
No, no, no. So you like you
Do you
yes,
have to
like
do a boolean?
no, no, no. You don't have to. Yeah, like so you're not having to know and have any coding knowledge. You can say I want to make an application that achieves this goal in the same way that like I don't know if you use like Excel macros a lot, but you like I Google and like how do I do Excel macros? You could be like ChatGPT build me like an
Make
Excel
me a
macro
yeah,
that builds on itself and then like it'll I don't know pull like
yeah, sure.
build like a JavaScript code for you essentially.
Okay, I mean, hate that. Um,
Yeah. So, I mean
scary,
that's looking
but also
forward,
useful.
but we've already like I was looking at it. There's statistics on how many jobs have already been replaced by AI, and this is something that's like it looks like okay, generative AI um grew from $191 million in 2022 to $25.6 billion in 2024. And in
Hmm,
2024, 150,000 plus tech jobs were eliminated. This is from Forbes, apparently. So yeah,
yeah, okay,
it's
so
not like a scholarly article, but it's like a decent.
yeah,
And then 24,000 were eliminated in 2025, citing AI
okay,
efficiencies. So AI is actively replacing people's jobs, but
yeah,
it's primarily jobs that are you wouldn't refer to them as like highly qualified personnel on like a grant
yeah,
application, for instance. There's like
it's like
it's gonna be
a low entry point kind
it's
of,
gonna yes it's gonna be like early career individuals like junior
mhm.
developers, we're talking administrative people. So yeah, thoughts on that?
Well, okay, so I said immediately that my, like, first blush kind of vibe was that I hate it, but also I remember a couple years ago when I was trying to find a way to reduce the bottleneck of data that I was dealing with in my experiments where we have to code faces of mice, lots, and not manually, ideally. And I was talking to my friend that is at NYU or Columbia, one of the New York universities that everyone's hot shit about. And he's in the kind of like, computer software engineer,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah space. And he's like, you can definitely do that. And this was right before ChatGPT kind of like went mainstream.
Yeah.
And I remember going on to ChatGPT and being like, "Is this possible?" And it kind of was like, "It's possible if you do this, like, go on to, like, what Stack? Something
Substack, yeah.
Stack? No, not
Substack.
Substack, that's like a blog. Something else Stack. Stack Overflow. Is that it?
Okay,
That's
okay,
one of
yes,
those.
yes, the thing.
Anyways, it tells me to go on a bunch of, like, open source, GitHub, all that kinda stuff. And I'm like, "Okay, so but that's still coding. That's still me acquire new skill to execute," right? Whereas this, it sounds to me like I could get there without having to learn a new skill. I would just need to be able to give adequate enough instructions, which is a much lower barrier to entry for me to use the tool, which is
Yes.
good. But on the other hand, I don't know that there's another hand to that. That sounds useful, but it also sounds scary because of all the statistics you just cited about, like, job elimination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's I don't know, we don't necessarily we don't need to get into like the ethical implications of that. But again, I think it's like
Mhm.
AI has this beautiful potential. I think like I have like integrated it into my workflow of like things that I used to do manually in Excel, like I don't know, deleting
Mhm.
empty cells and like empty rows and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like deleting rows of like missing data is like
Mhm.
again, maybe I'm sure that there's a macro for that. I probably could learn I could code something very simply, but it's like
But again, you
I
have to learn a new skill.
just drop it into ChatGPT and be like, please eliminate these duplicate entry, like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
um,
for me, you hit on, like, a really important part of this that is unfortunately kind of philosophical, which I don't particularly love, but it's maybe I lost my train of thought.
that's totally fine. I think like people are going off in the chat essentially about like how programmers
Yeah.
got done dirty. People are talking about artists
Yeah.
being robbed. Speaking about artists, I definitely
Mm.
believe that there was a sorry, my headphones are gonna die soon, so I'm gonna switch over. I just got the little beep
Oh,
beepy noise.
yeah.
Um, I think there was a court ruling at the federal level, maybe,
Right.
that AI art can't be copyrighted. So I feel like that is a bit of a protection for artists, in my opinion. But or maybe not. I don't know how you feel about that because I feel like people are using AI art. AI art could not be copied. Yeah. Oh yeah. AI. Okay. This my headphones are very old and used. Thanks, though, baby. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Art is such a tough one, right? Because
hmm
A, I personally know a lot of literal, like, soft art artists, like sculptors,
Yes.
painters,
Yeah.
these sorts of things. And this is not to disparage digital artists in any way, shape, or form,
hmm
but I think that there's, like, a closer kind of, like, symbiosis that might be possible with digital art and AI kind of having something that isn't parasitic from the AI, onto the actual artist. But it's a lot harder to, have an expressionist painting that's a real painting that's
Yeah.
made by an AI. Maybe, like, you could do that with a 3D printer or something like that, but, if you're getting impasto, which is, like, when the paint literally rises from the canvas and there's
hmm
things that are, like,
hmm
poking out. Could it do that? Could you code for that? Would that be as moving? Is there some degree of, like, quote, unquote, "soul" that even if it could replicate the physical media, would it be something that I'd be as interested in, or is part of what makes art interesting in the first place its relationship to humanity? And, like, sorry, I that's so fucking
That's
the
very
mustache twirly, but
metaphysical.
right, but I mean, like,
yeah.
it's that's how I feel about the art
hmm
thing, is I there's no 2 ways about it.
Yeah.
Is it possible that AI taking
Yeah.
entry-level jobs won't be a problem because it just shifts what is now an entry-level job? I have thought about that, but I think it is a problem because it
Can you repeat that, Alicia?
so better off Ted's question in the chat. Is it possible that AI taking
Yeah, I plugged in my headphones and they decided to completely disconnect Bluetooth. Give me 2 seconds here. I know I love all of our technical problems. There you go.
A really good point. It's a great counterpoint. And it's kind of the AI modern day version of, oh, we just changed from blacksmiths to car mechanics. And, we just changed from,
Yeah.
people building roads. Well, that still happens actually. But, like you're just updating what's happening in day to day. And to some degree, I do think it's that. But as Get a Grip says, the issue is that the entry level jobs are now how you learn to do the job and make the thing, but also because it's driven by endless growth profit models,
Hmm.
it's always going to want to be shaving off more of the bottom and more of the bottom line, or growing the
Yeah.
bottom line, I guess. I don't know. Whatever one is more money for the rich people,
Yes.
right?
Reducing the bottom line, I think is what I say. But like,
Yeah.
yes, I think like no, I completely agree. I think again, I keep being like, there's so much potential here. There's so much potential for positive benefits to society, but because
Yeah.
it's like a capitalistically driven
It's in the hands of the
process.
wrong people. It's
Exactly.
in the hands of,
And
yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I think like, and I also think that people used to say like, people used to shit on social media and like some people still shit on social media because it was, we're like, oh, people don't talk to each other anymore, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's not that people aren't socializing and socially communicating, it's that the manner in which it is happening is changing right now, that
Yeah.
it's in a indirect form via this platform.
Yeah.
And so I think
We kinda
like,
touched on that in the parasocial relationships thing, like,
yes.
how much is a parasocial rather than, like, an explicitly face-to-face traditional social relationship? How do those compare in terms of, like, well-being? And I can't remember what the conclusion was, but I think it generally was that it's slightly less enriching.
Yeah, I think no, I think it ended up being it's a little bit less positive of a benefit.
Mhm.
Sean, can you bring me the plug for my headphones? I'm just gonna plug them in. I don't have to have power for them to work that way, like an aux cable. But yeah, so no, and I think in that way, like culture is obviously being shaped by AI. And it's gonna have obviously
Mhm.
positive and negative benefits, but it is like scary in like the meanwhile, like figuring out
Yeah.
how it's going to shape people like, and especially I think the labor thing is like what scares me is because
Yeah.
especially in the US, like people need jobs for like healthcare. People need like you being employed is such a like massive necessity to survive in the US because cost of living,
Absolutely.
because healthcare is often dependent on like you being employed and all of
Yeah.
these things. So the fact that people can't like are being replaced by robots just so that corporate entities can like have lower bottom lines is so
Mhm.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's the trickle down ain't trickling down. That's
It
that's the thing.
it
That's
don't be
just the
trickling.
thing. No trickles. Complete drought of trickleless life right now. Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I don't know that I have anything of value to add on that. It's a succinct
Hmm.
and an accurate way to put it, and it's really concerning, to be frank.
Yes,
Like,
I completely agree.
it's concerning because the United States is a benchmark for a lot of the kind of developed world in terms of how productivity is done and how, non-manufacturing based economies are done, and how kind of like all of that integrates, right? Because there's lots of places that have like physical resource based economies and stuff like that. And that has its own huge amount of problems. But here, there's so much kind of skill based and labor based kind of value that if you start to siphon that into kind of this nebulous, no one's getting paid, no one's doing anything, then at some point, some version of a world where if we all got self-driving cars or we all figured out self-driving cars are way safer, and the people rich enough to get them got them, there's still gonna be, me with my old '93 jalopy,